Michael, a little Stevie Wonder there in the morning. That wakes everybody up, so I appreciate the music. But I tell you what, I'm a first-generation college student. I worked years to become a physician. That's what my mom and dad still call me. I'm honored to be a senator, but being a physician is certainly was the dream of my life, my American dream, and that's what most of my friends and family call me is Doc.
Well, Doc, we're glad to have you here. We're also appreciative of your service in the United States Army. So thank you for your service, sir. And we're happy to have you here. How many medical doctors are currently in the Senate? Do you know?
I do. I think there's 5 of us. I think that's right. Senator Cassidy was a a GI doctor. Barrasso was an orthopod. Bozeman was an optometrist, and Rand Paul an ophthalmologist, and then myself. I hope I'm not missing anybody.
Well, I don't think it's intentional, but it's interesting for me to see how many very learned members of our society are now turning to service in politics, especially in the U.S. Senate. I think it's very handy to have. And yesterday we were talking about this topic about the CDC and giving guidance on something called chest feeding for trans people. Have we reached peak madness yet at the CDC, Senator?
Well, Michael, Julie, when will the woke left realize? When will they wake up and realize what they've done to America here? But again, I'm an obstetrician. I delivered a baby every day of my life, most every day for some 25, 30 years, if you include residency. And breastfeeding was a very important part of that of delivering obstetrical care. That is the healthiest nutrition there is for a baby. And to see this be bastardized by the CDC and actually putting babies at risk. I just beyond the pale. I'm almost speechless to describe how upsetting this is. So think about this just for a moment. The CDC is recommending a drug that's been taken off the market by the FDA. Domperidone is what it's called. It was taken off the market in 2004 because it caused life-threatening heart arrhythmias. They took it off the market in 2004, but one of the side effects from the drug, it acts on the pituitary gland to release oxytocin and induces, I wouldn't even call it milk, some fluid from the breast is one of the side effects from the drug. So they started giving this to biological men to induce some type of fluid release, and then they're giving them a concoction of estrogen, progesterone, diuretics as well. Look, if any one of my moms would have came to me and said, "Doctor, is it okay if I take this medicine and breastfeed?" I would have said, well, of course not. This medicine is going to, we know it goes through the breast milk. It could cause arrhythmias for this baby. Don't you think a newborn baby is more at risk for heart arrhythmias from some foreign bodies? It could cause breast enlargement. I won't go into PG-13, what else some of these other hormones would cause as well. But my goodness, you put them all together and it's going to be an exponential problem. This is malpractice. The CDC is way outside of their lane. I just can't be more upset.
Doctor, there is evidence. We've seen it on Twitter and in other social media platforms where biological men are using this to produce some sort of liquid and then feeding it to their babies, which is monstrous and so disturbing. And this is being encouraged by the CDC, who in this guidance actually says that non-binary people can produce, transgender individuals can produce milk for babies. What can you do as a legislature, as a policymaker to stop this? This is very dangerous for these babies.
Right. So the CDC and the FDA are both under our jurisdiction. So we are writing letters to push back on both of them. And the FDA needs to take the high ground here and say, look, the CDC may even be breaking the law, that they are marketing a drug that was taken off the market by the FDA. So I think that I won't be surprised if state attorney generals will take them on as well. But as what I can do is we have someone, a new NIH director that'll be coming before us soon, is we have to hold those people accountable and say, what are you going to do to enforce the law? The CDC is outside of the lane. They're underneath the NIH, if that makes sense. So we need the NIH director to step forward and say, wait a second, CDC, you're outside of your lane. You are threatening the health of newborn babies.
Well,
what are you doing over here?
And I certainly hope you'll work with your colleagues on the House to cut funding, because that's all that matters to these people. This is absolutely outrageous, and I hope that they lose funding because of this.
Yeah, that's a great concept as well, and I'm certainly very concerned. But just in general, the waste and abuse of funding for research grants that the NIH and CDC gives as well. So you're spot on.
We're talking to Senator Roger Marshall, also a doctor who knows a little something about birth and babies and what it requires for healthy babies. Doc, wouldn't it be an interesting thing in a hearing to have maybe a sample of whatever fluid is developed in these biological males who then pretend that they're breastfeeding and compare it chemically to actual natural breast milk? Wouldn't that be a little enlightening and possibly maybe wake some people up?
Well, it would. And to your point, number one is we know what's not in it, and that's called colostrum. And I think most of us remember back to our basic biology that colostrum is that special golden nugget that moms give to their babies, antibodies, antioxidants that help protect the baby's immune system until it matures enough so they can protect themselves. And then from just a calorie count, there's no way that baby's going to get adequate nutrition, and you're probably filling them full of empty calories.
Yep.
Just why? I'm just beside myself. Why would you subject newborn babies to the threats from the side effects of these medicines, let alone inadequate nutrition? Why are we putting our woke agenda ahead of science? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, we need to stand up to it. Senator,